What's up, everybody? It's your favorite FPL YouTubers back at it with another Game Week preview and analysis video, this time for Game Week 6. We're very excited, and let's get right into it. I'm Jarrett,
I'm Evan.
and this is How to FPL. Before we really get started, apologies for missing the last two Game Week videos. Evan and I were both on vacation, so we'll try to limit that in the future, but life took priority.
All right. So we have two hot topics this week, and like Jarrett said, glad to be back. The perennial Salah question. Jarrett, I think you have a very specific answer to this question, which our audience would love to hear. So why don't you let's just give me your thoughts on Salah or no Salah.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think the question is necessarily as simple as that. Obviously, he's still a very good player who will likely score a lot of FPL points for your team. The question boils down to, is he actually worth his price tag when you compare him to all of the other players that you could get for the money that you're spending on him? And especially if you're not planning to captain him most weeks, which, given the stretch of fixtures coming up, could very well be the case, I would argue that you should seriously consider going without Salah. I don't have Salah in my team at the moment. I transferred him out last week, as
Poor.
I imagine a number of... I did Salah and De Silva for Sterling and Gundogan. So basically ended up selling Salah for Gundogan and Sterling. Two players who I think both have the potential to score big points. That's definitely a transfer that I'm pretty happy about so far, I would say. So I don't have him in my team anymore. I'd imagine a lot of people are starting to consider going without him. What do you think, Evan?
Yeah, well, I think that we wouldn't be bringing this question up if it wasn't the right time to do it. So, regardless of your or my opinion on whether one should do that, I agree with you that it's like kind of it's team dependent in the sense that it depends who you're bringing in for him. But if you're gonna do it, now's a great time. He's out of form. He got a really lucky assist last week. He should not have had 10 points. He should have had 7 or less or fewer.
Less.
Sure. I don't know. Points. Anyway.
He wouldn't have gotten bonus.
Yeah. So I think that now's the time. His fixtures are turning. That being said, I've kept him. I think that he has a decent chance of being involved versus Everton. He still does have some bit of promising statistics. I think his chances created are actually pretty good in terms of comparing him to the rest of midfielders. But that being said, his output is obviously way worse than last season, especially the beginning of last season. So I think it's totally fair to sell him. But I agree. So you got to bring him in. I think you got to bring him in for someone like Sterling, who you can captain or who you would consider captaining. I think if you get rid of Salah for two, 8 or 9 million midfielders, I don't know if that's wise, just given that we're entering Champions League stage. People are going to be rotating, and you're going to need multiple captain options sometimes. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean, back to talking about if he is value for money. I mean, with the money you're paying for him, the expectation is that he returns, and it's that is the baseline. And when he doesn't return, then you're falling way behind everyone who spent the money, spread it out over
100%.
several players.
100%.
So
And that's also, just to add on one more point before we move on to the next question, I'd also think that that's why your future wildcarding plans matter. For example, my plan is to wildcard in game week 8 still. That could change, but with that plan in mind, I'm happy keeping him for his remaining fixtures in that time span, especially when one of them is Everton. I don't know. Everton are having a bad season. I can see Salah
yeah,
getting a return or two. So I'm not too worried,
definitely.
but something to keep in mind.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Um,
And then has Holland broken the Premier League?
hmm, I think the answer to this question is not obvious, but I think everybody knows what my side of the answer will be, which is that yes, he has broken the Premier League. Um, I think his question is not how capable is he of performing at the highest level or in the Premier League in general at this point in the season. He's not. He's past that. We know he can perform. The question is, can he stay fit? I think that his fitness will be a determinant of how much he breaks the Premier League. I think he could if he stays fit, he could genuinely have like a many records breaking season. But I don't know if your thoughts differ, Jarrett.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, he already has 9 goals, I think, and he's played 5 games. So the Premier League scoring record is like 32, I think. So he's already over a quarter of the way there, and only played 5 games. So that's definitely very promising. And Pep's comments in their press conference today made it seem like Holland is set to start again. He said something like Holland recovers really well. He only subbed him to make sure he wasn't going to get injured. He'd be concerned about rotating him if he was 32, not 22. So, it seems like he's probably good to go again.
I'm excited for this week. Let's just say that. But Villa are a tougher test than Nottingham Forest, so we'll see.
Definitely.
Should we move on?
Yeah, so we'll go over my performance from last game week. Things went pretty well for me, honestly. My Liverpool defenders failed to deliver again, and I finally lost patience with Robbo this week. I transferred him out. But Cancelo got that clean sheet and scored an absolute screamer. Got the Andreas assist, Saka assist. What did Martinelli have? A goal? Yeah, a goal.
Yeah.
Sterling, goal. Holland, hat trick. Jesus, goal. So, 89 points I think is my highest score this season so far, and I moved almost into the top million ranks, which is definitely where I want to be soon. So definitely trending in the right direction after a kind of rough start, but yeah.
I mean, you cut your rank in half. That's some good stuff right there. Even though it
Yeah.
is early season, ranks move. Ranks are very fluid right now, but that's a good sign for you for sure. And I think if I were you, I would, despite Salah getting the lucky assist, and maybe on paper, like keeping him would have technically got you more points. I think I would still be happy if I had made that Sterling move and you got the return from him. His fixtures are good. Gundo, I think it is interesting. What do you think about your Gundo move? Do you feel do you feel the same about it as when you brought him in, or are you questioning it at all? Because I didn't think he looked insanely promising in that game, but I think he's still a good shout.
I mean, Liverpool scored 9 goals and Salah wasn't involved, and I don't see you questioning
Yeah.
him.
No, no, I'm
Um, no, but I mean, no, I'm my anti-Salah slander is very high right now. But I mean,
that's fair, man.
I think Gundogan should still start this next game, and then hopefully he gets rested in the Champions League, and that's just what I'm hoping right now. But we'll have to see. I'd
Yeah.
imagine he's still in Pep's first choice 11 though. So as long as he's in the first choice 11, I'm comfortable having him in my team. But I actually think my move ended up canceling out because De Silva didn't start, so he only had 1 point, and then Salah had 10, and so both would have gotten 11. So I think it was a net zero, but that's okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
That's a good point. Yeah, good move. And I think Gundo has played well enough with Holland this season that like it's fair to expect him to get like some continuous returns.
yeah, definitely. Let's look at your team.
So I was pretty similar. I think again the difference in our teams. Well, obviously there's Salah, but Salah Sterling got similar points. The difference again has come down to Walker versus Cancelo. It seems to be a recurring theme this season, which makes sense. I mean, I think it's, you know, Cancelo is just simply worth the 2 million more. Um, that being said, still got the Walker clean sheet. Still really happy with my game week, even though like it would have been better if I could have had that Cancelo banger giving me points. Um, but really can't complain. My overall rank has not quite halved, but has gone up substantially. I'm progressing in the right direction. I'm happy. Holland hat
Yeah,
trick. Things are looking
yeah.
up.
Can't complain too much with the Holland captain. I mean,
Exactly.
yeah, but definitely trending in the right direction. All right, I'll go
Oh wait,
through. Oh,
wait. Do you want to go back to that slide for one more second? The only other thing, just because this is something I did last week, is I brought in James last week, and he then later found out that he was ill and wouldn't play. So that was kind of an L. But Andreas got subbed in for him, so it actually worked out. Anyways, we can keep going.
yeah, it worked out perfectly. It was
Yeah.
kind of a funny situation in that, I was on Twitter all the way up until the deadline and decided just to not worry about it and just let Andreas sub on for him if he wasn't going to start. But I know that a lot of active FPL managers were actively, watching the Chelsea lineup updates and saying like, "Oh, James is out, got to transfer him out," and a lot of them transferred him out for Lewis Dunk, for example, who scored an own goal. So,
Oh,
pretty funny.
sometimes
Um,
ignorance is the best solution.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, then getting into the clean sheet odds for this week, no real surprises here. Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs, and City, all with the highest ones. And they're pretty closely followed, actually, by Newcastle, Nottingham Forest, Brighton, and Wolves there, who are all in the, mid to high 30s. So decent. I wouldn't say there's any crazy high chances for clean sheets this week, but they're like pretty well spread out. Like there's definitely a decently high percentage in pretty much every game. So definitely good potential for maybe some differential defenders to get some clean sheets this week.
100%. And also maybe not even expanding beyond the realm of differentials, but just people that we normally bench, like Neco Williams. Forest have,
Yeah,
a decent chance of a clean sheet, and Bournemouth are abysmal on the attack, and I think most people that have him are going to start him. So
That's the plan.
Yep, should be. I think I'm expecting a week of solid defensive returns, and I will also say that most of the weeks that that's true, it doesn't end up playing out that way. So we shall see.
Getting into the goal scorer odds then.
Let's go. Yeah, so I think it's no surprise who sits at the top of this list. The greatest striker in the world. However, he's not that much higher than the rest of them. I mean, we were just talking about the world number one from last season, Jarrett, and you said that he still has Kane at this
I
point
don't
in
know
the
if he
season.
still does, but I watched one of his videos a week or two ago, and he still had Kane.
Yeah, I think people who are in that position should accept that they've messed up and transfer him out. That being said, I don't know if this week is the week to do that, just because Spurs actually have a decent fixture this week, and that's reflected in these odds. I think same goes for Salah. I don't know if he's a transfer out this week because he has, above a 40% chance of scoring a goal. Other than that, I don't think there's anything surprising here. Darwin's kind of interesting, but I don't think anyone should
I
be
actually
jumping
think
to get him in.
Darwin could be a good shout. Although I probably wouldn't bring him in this week just because Firmino has done a really good job in his absence. But, I think Darwin has had the most chances of any Liverpool player, and he missed 3 games from suspension. So, there's something to be said for that. He definitely has very explosive potential. But I probably wouldn't look to bring him in right now just because his starting position is uncertain, and Liverpool are about to have some pretty tough fixtures.
Yeah. He could be a good, for the fixtures aspect of that, a game week 8 wild card might even be a bit too soon. You'd probably be bringing him in around when the bad fixtures are starting. But yeah, definitely something to consider.
If you're looking at closer to like a game week 12 wild card, then he'd be a good one.
Yeah. And your boy Sterling has a 32.5% chance, Jarrett. What do you make of that? Are you going to captain him?
Let's go. I think its real chance is higher than that. I think the algorithm's wrong.
The bookies are wrong. Put your money on it, son.
Bookies are wrong. No, I am planning to captain Sterling. And having said that, here's my team for the week. So I actually was looking at the Fantasy Football Scout picks for this week, and my back 6 are exactly what they chose. So I don't really know what to make of that. I feel like that's usually not a good sign, just because it kind of jinxes you. But yeah, so I've got a pretty strong defense for this week, in my opinion. Sanchez playing a terrible Leicester team, and he's at home. I'd expect Trent to do something against Everton. I think there's a decent chance Trips can do something. Who I transferred him in for Robbo this week, just because I'm tired of seeing Robbo get me no points and his price go down. And there are even rumors of him potentially not having a starting spot anymore, which I find very interesting. And Newcastle have the best fixtures now, so it's kind of a no-brainer for me. Even if Robbo outscores him this week, kind of a no-brainer. And then Neco Williams home against Bournemouth. If you're not going to play him this week, when are you going to play him? Reece James, I think, could have a really big week this week. West Ham haven't been scoring very many goals, and I would expect him to be very involved. Cancelo, I'm not going to bench him, so he's in my starting lineup. And And then, yeah, Captain Sterling. I've got Gundogan and Holland still in there. And then things get kind of interesting. So I wasn't really sure which Arsenal player to bench. And I can't really bench Jesus just because of how explosive we know he is. And then even though Saka is probably on penalty kicks, Martinelli is just simply in much better form than him. So I decided I'm going to start Martinelli over Saka.
Yeah, I think that's your dilemma, that and your captain dilemma. And it's funny, we had this conversation before, and I agree with you. I think Saka's on pens, Martinelli's in better form. Use your best judgment, you as our viewer, that is, or you as Jarrett. Use your best judgment. I will see my team in a minute or two. I don't have that dilemma, although I have my own dilemma. But yeah, how confident are you with your Sterling captain compared to Holland?
I still think Holland will do something. But I think I do feel pretty good about the Sterling captain pick. He has returned in both of their home games so far this season. I think he got 5 points and 15 points. And keep in mind, Chelsea have been kind of struggling. Chelsea have scored, I think, 4 goals at home this season, and Sterling was involved in 3 of them. So, especially playing at home this season, he's been pretty good. West Ham aren't exactly a team in form. And Chelsea also probably have pretty much a full strength defense now, or close to it, after signing Fofana. And Reece James is no longer ill. So I don't know. I think he definitely has some haul potential this week. And
For sure.
I'm willing to take a little differential pick there for him over Holland.
And I imagine you don't see Holland having quite as easy of a time scoring a hat trick against Villa as versus
I'm a little scared to say that, but I mean, whenever you're in a toss-up situation like this, I also think you do need to keep in mind just how many more points midfielders score than forwards in FPL. I mean, it's the 2 extra points for a goal and extra point for a clean sheet, and those do add up. So, for example, Holland scored a hat trick, and Salah got 2 assists. One of them absolutely cheese, and I think Holland only got 7 more points than him last week. So
yeah.
That's not a crazy difference. And Holland had to get a hat trick to do that. So
yeah. Fair enough, man. Fair enough.
All right. Let's check your team.
Okay. So, yeah. So as I mentioned before, I also have Saka and Martinelli, but I'm starting both of them, and I'm starting them over Kyle Walker. So I think outside of that, my team is pretty similar to yours. I guess I also have Gross for this week, which I'm pretty excited about. He didn't return last week, but I think that Leicester is a team that Gross has the chance to get a return or two. I'm not asking much of the guy. Come on, man. I brought him in last week. You can see right here. Last week I finally got rid of Bailey for James, and for Gross, sorry, and then I upgraded Trips to James, which didn't work out for last week. Anyways, yeah, I don't know, Jarrett. I think that Walker, if Walker were Cancelo for me, I would start him, but he's not, and he simply doesn't get attacking returns. And I'm not insanely convinced on City's clean sheet potential as of late and versus Aston Villa. And obviously all these decisions are often come down to preference, but I'm happy playing Martinelli and Saka and Neco Williams over Walker. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I don't have any. I'm not questioning your lineup here at all. The one question mark I actually would have is your captaincy choice right now. Are you dead set on Holland instead of Salah right now? I mean I know Salah
No.
hasn't been in the best of form, but I feel like he traditionally does pretty well against Everton.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's funny. I'm having this conversation with someone who just transferred him out. So you tell me, man. What do you think?
Well,
But
that was a week ago.
yeah, fair enough. No, yeah, not true. Um, I mean, it's tough for me. I I think I haven't finalized the decision yet, but it's going to come down to the main point. It's going to come down to is whether I think he'll start. If I think Holland will start, I captain him. If I know he's going to start, I captain him 10 times out of 10 over Salah with their both of their current form. It's just I don't know. I don't I don't see it as much of a dilemma outside of the fact that there are questions over whether Holland will start. That being said, it's entirely possible that he blanks and Salah. I don't think it's an easy decision. But
Yeah,
I guess I
yeah.
think that the odds are in Holland's favor.
I think that's some sound reasoning. Although I don't think you'll know if Holland is starting because Liverpool are the first game this week.
Oh, are they? I thought City were first this week. Maybe I read it wrong.
No, no.
Oh, okay. Well, guess we'll just have to roll this one. Roll with the punches on this one.
Yeah,
I'll
I don't
probably
think.
stick with Holland.
Yeah, sounds good.
Does that
But yeah,
wrap it up?
I think you're set for a pretty good week as well. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we do all right.
Yeah, and
Um,
I'm kind of excited to roll the transfer. I
yeah,
think next week will be fun to have two transfers going into. But
definitely. Yeah. So having said that, thanks for sticking around and watching the video. Make sure to like and subscribe.